living proof that you can take the boy out of Grinnell, but you can't take Grinnell out of the boy. I was born in Grinnell a long, long time ago. But I am proud to share with all of you that earlier this summer, while wearing the baseball uniform of the Grinnell Pioneers, I helped defeat the Republicans in the congressional baseball game 18-5. And because in this country, baseball is a metaphor for life, you all know what's going to happen in this state on November 6th. We're going to re-elect President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden. To go back to the last election to talk about the importance of this college to this state and this country. Because a week after the last presidential election, I brought my mom to Grinnell College to hear a former Republican presidential nominee, Bob Dole, talk about his experience serving in World War II and how it changed his life. And we honored all of those men and women from Powesheik County who had answered the call of duty and served their country. And that was an important moment for me because that war and the GI Bill of Rights that was passed in its aftermath transformed higher education in this country. Because Democrats made that happen. Before that time, higher education was only available to the privileged few in our country. But those returning veterans came back and invaded college campuses all over this country and went out and created the greatest economic boom in the history of the world because of higher education and what it means to economic prosperity. And when I went to Congress, I was proud to work with my Democratic colleagues, Vice President Biden and President Obama, to do important things to make college education more affordable to every student in America. We cut the interest rate on Stafford loans in half, and they're now at 3.4%.
All right.
Vice President Biden, we dramatically increased the size and scope of Pell Grants in this country so more students can Now this is personal to me because growing up in Brooklyn, Iowa, I would never have been able to afford college if I didn't work part-time, have Pell Grants, and interest on my student loans at that time at 1% to 2%. And now we have Republicans claiming we have to go back to higher student interest rates. We have to reinsert banks into the lending process, all of which would cost you more money, deny access to higher education to millions of American students, and move us backwards, not forward. And that's why we have to do everything we can to re-elect President Obama and Vice President Biden. Whether it's the American Opportunity Tax Credit that we passed that consolidates the tax deductions for people pursuing higher education, on and on and on, this president and vice president have done more for college students than we have seen in decades to give them a chance when higher education is increasingly out of their reach. But I have a very high honor now, because there are two important Joes that you're going to be hearing from. Vice president, and he's a big deal. But the other Joe I'm about to introduce is a president. He's president of the Grinnell College Democrats, and I think that the best way to welcome him to the microphone is what we did down in Charlotte before Vice President Biden was introduced. So if you are on this side of the room, I want you to yell, "Fired up." If you're on this side of the room, I want you to yell, "Ready for Joe." Fired up!
Ready for Joe! Fired up! Ready for Joe! Fired up! Ready for Joe! All right.
My name is Joe Engleman. I'm a third-year student here. Thank you, Congressman Braley, for those kind remarks. And as Congressman Braley said, I'm one of the co-chairs, president of Grinnell College's Campus Democrats. Right now, I'm really glad I remembered to pack a tie with me when I came back to school. Last week, I had the honor and the privilege to shake hands with the President, the Vice President, the First Lady in Iowa City. And when the Vice President shook my hand, he said, "Hey, big guy." And I responded in the only way I could. I blurted out, "Come to Powesheik County. Come to Grinnell." Here at Grinnell, we often talk about how much we value and how much we practice this idea of self-governance. Self-governance embodies what it means to be a student here. It's about talking. Self-governance really challenges us to consider the needs of the community alongside our own. Those are the values that inspire us. Those are the values that inspire the Democratic Party, and those are the values that inspire Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, though, they stop at the self part. And they're wrong. Joe Biden and Barack Obama spent the last 4 years trying to move us forward, and we can't stop now. They know it makes sense for us to stay on our parents' health insurance longer. They know it makes sense for women to have their reproductive rights covered by folks to have their student loans forgiven after 10 years if you're going to enter public service. Like a lot of us here. And it was our president and our vice president who knew it was right to say that you should be able to marry the person you love no matter what your We've got to do our part to help make sure that we help re-elect President Obama and Vice President Biden. We've all got to pitch in a little bit to help make sure we turn Grinnell, Powesheik County, and Iowa blue again this year.
Yes.
Early voting starts September 27th. If you want to vote here in Grinnell, you need to register, even if you voted here before. If you live in a different dorm than you did last time you voted here, you need to re-register. If you so much as think that you live in a different dorm than you did last time, you need to re-register. Because we need Joe Biden to be our vice president for 4 more years, and we need Barack Obama to be our president for 4 more years. But we also have to remember that winning this election isn't going to be easy. We have to keep in mind a lesson that Joe Biden's dad taught him. When you get knocked down, you get back up. I know that I wouldn't be standing on the stage in front of you, about to introduce one of the most powerful people on the planet, without my family, my friends, and groups like Make the Challenge in Chicago that helped me get involved in politics and Now here's a lesson that my dad taught me, quite recently actually. When you're giving an introduction, you keep it short. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden.
See, I take orders well. He said, come to Grinnell, I'm here. Hey, it's great to be with you all. Joe, thank you for that introduction, for all the help organizing the Grinnell College Democrats. I appreciate you telling everyone just in 9 days. In 9 days, you can start early voting here in Iowa, and every state should be like this, but you should take advantage of it. One of the guys you should vote for, in my humble opinion, is my pal, Bruce Braley.
Hey! All right.
I campaigned the first time Bruce ran for Bruce in his old district. He was ahead by 30 points. After my campaigning for him, he still won. Bruce, it's great to be with you. You've done an incredible job in Washington. You've done an incredible job for the state of Iowa, for the country. You know, folks, this country is facing, it's not hyperbole, the starkest choice for president in my memory. The president and I, to state the obvious, have fundamentally different vision and a fundamentally different value set than Governor Romney and Congressman Ryan. And by the way, they are good, decent people. They are truly decent people. They are loving husbands, they're great fathers, but quite frankly, quite frankly, that's where the similarity ends. And I sincerely mean it when I say they're fine people. Bruce can tell you, I served in the Congress long before he got there, and I've enjoyed a great relationship with my Republican colleague. So the truth of the matter is, folks, there is a lot of common purpose when you look for common ground.
Yes.
But that's not what Bruce has been facing in the Republican House these days, and it's not what the country's been facing. And the differences that separate the president and me from our competitors are differences that not only are stark, but they really matter. They matter a great deal to the physical security, the economic stability, and will have a profound impact on the social mores in this country and the social policy in this country, particularly for women. There are no group of Americans to which it matters more, though, I would argue, than those of you in the college campuses all across America. Because I've been saying it for the last 3 years. You're part of the most incredible generation in American history. You're part of that 9/11 generation. You have faced up the challenges that have met this country. There have been over 2,800,000 of your generation who strapped on combat boots and gone to those god-awful mountains of Afghanistan or the scorching deserts of Iraq that visited over 20 times. You are the same people who volunteer more to do public service than any generation, including the vaulted generation of mine when I was in college in the 60s, the 60s generation. You've done more, and you have more capacity, and you have more opportunity than any generation to state the obvious in American history. And I really believe, not because I'm standing before you, I've said this in every forum, you are destined to be the greatest generation in this country's history, but it really matters. It really matters. It really matters what you inherit.